I love it. Well, first things first, we need to determine if Virtus.pro or SRPeakCheck are going through to face a TM. Let's talk about those two teams. We've seen plenty of both of them already through the group stages and also here in the main event. Only one will stay alive. Let's start here with the Virtus.pro roster, McGravy. I mean, obviously a lot of talent in this squad. They're going up against something more unorthodox. Do they have the flexibility to deal with this today?
Yeah, I think they do, and I'm really looking at Sauna on Virtus.pro here. He's known for the Tracer, someone I've formerly coached, and that's what we scout him for, was the Tracer. But here, see him here on the screen talking about the Pharah. Pharah's going to be a huge, huge pick for these composition counters, especially with Cloudy on the Reinhardt. You need to break the shield. You need the sky pressure and the side angles. Yeah, I'm really looking at Sauna. I'm looking at Shockwave here too. I mean, his hit scan is just lights out. He's been known for Ashe ever since the character first came out. What, 5 years ago at this point? He's been solid for sure.
So you coached Sauna on Florida Mayhem.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, for some time.
And then we traded him ruthlessly and got rid of him. But hey, he's a good player.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to bring that up. I'm sorry. But, you know, anyway, SRPeakCheck, the Reinhardt team.
Yay!
LH Cloudy is not messing around picking Reinhardt. And everybody's knows this, of course. Fee also on the Junkrat. Danit on the Symmetra. Like, this team is all about chaos, really. Like, they just bring chaos to the match. And if you don't have enough kind of structure in your team or good enough of an understanding of how to work around the Reinhardt, frankly, you're going to feel the pain. And they've done a fantastic job so far. The backline as well. The amount they're able to stay alive and support their front line while dealing damage. You know, Ghost 99 on the Baptiste as well, dealing poke damage to the flankers coming in, pushing them away. They've done a fantastic job so far, and you take some skill to break down this composition.
It does indeed. And although most European players and teams should be familiar with, going up against a composition like that, because it's EU Overwatch after all, it's not as easy as it seems. There's a lot of chaos, a lot of communication that needs to happen. You have an illustration for us to break it all down of just how difficult, how chaotic, and how mad this situation can get.
Yeah, I just want to, showcase the chaos incarnate, really, that we're going to have to deal with in this matchup. So we're on Junkertown here. And, first of all, first things first, there's going to be a big ultimate advantage for SRPeakCheck in this one. So don't be surprised that they have the advantage in this fight, of course. But pretty default stuff. We got the Junkrat. He's way over here. You can see the lobbing nades. And we got LH Cloudy holding kind of the angles, holding close. Makes it difficult for the opponent to walk out. So pretty default kind of flank coming out here, of course, from Aoma, who's trying to come in from angles, come in from the flanks, and try to reach the backline. So we can just play it out here. And we can just take a look at how Aoma are approaching this fight. You want to get to the backline. You want to put pressure on the backline. Certainly the Baptiste as well. Because there's going to be a lot of card pressure from the front line of SRPeakCheck. But that's going to create some distance between the front line and backline. And that is when you go. So we can go ahead and slow this down when we go ahead here. Pause it. And we can see that the front line is really split from the back line here of SRPeakCheck. They've identified that the D.Va here was in the wrong position. Ice really struggled to get in a good position here and set up dives with Top Dragon. But there's just so much pressure, especially from Danit, who's playing the Symmetra. Like, that is a lot of damage going out to a D.Va, right? So you have to be meticulous in these kind of dive scenarios. Also, you have the Symmetra teleporter, so you can TP forward and put pressure on the backline of Aoma. Or, I mean, if you wanted to, you could TP backwards and help the backline. On more horizontal areas, we saw this on third point here on Junkertown, LH Cloudy at some points, he'll be on the card, put card pressure, and then pin backwards to peel. And if you sustain that dive, then you can just resume. So we can go ahead and play this one out. I mean, I'm no Ob Sojourn, but I'm trying to showcase all the action here. So we can kind of see how it goes. Ice is now on the backline. LH Cloudy is in the enemy backline. There's a Symmetra wall. I mean, there's tires all over the place. And they just don't successfully manage to dive here, the backline, because there's just so much going on. So I want to showcase this from Top Dragon's perspective as well, the Genji, of course, and really just show you how chaotic it is to try to sell these dives. So we are the Genji, we're against the Junkrat, we're against the Symmetra, and, we're going to make a really clean dive here. So going for the wide flank, set up the dive. Wait, there's a Symmetra turret, do some poke damage. All right, well, I'm going to grab this Mega. Oh, there's a Baptiste taking some more poke damage. Well, now I have to escape this. Armor pack. Oh, okay. Wait, there's a Junkrat here. Oh, I just took a bunch more damage. Repair pack. I mean, I got so many armor packs at this point. Oh, here's another turret. Try to dive in. There's a Symmetra wall in the way. There's ultimates everywhere. Top Dragon is like, Jesus Christ, there's just things everywhere. This is a clean kill coming in here, by the way. Boom. But then you go back to the cart. I mean, they're almost capped, and you're just facing a Reinhardt. And, well, I'll let the rest of the things speak for itself. Oof. Well, that's pretty rough. Wait. Wait, it's not over yet. Wait for it.
Oh no.
Top Dragon Field.
Oh no.
Oh wait, who is this? LH Cloudy on LA Gladiators solo shattering Baby Bay? What a throwback. Well, that was really the only highlight from this match. But I just wanted to show that LH Cloudy, you know, he's a veteran of the sport. He's been here before. This time on Los Angeles Gladiators with Space, Mirror, and Birdring, facing the likes of Baby Bay and Gator and stuff, you know. So he's been on Junkertown before. But that is how much chaos there is when you're trying to set up these dives, right? So it's really going to be on players like Rajaro to set up dives with Sauna and try to get that backline. Now, obviously, you can play Bastion at certain points, and you can just make this life-living hell for at least Cloudy and Reinhardt. But on some points, you're going to be forced to get to the backline, and you need to be clean with it.
I mean, quite frankly, we've seen other teams playing Bastion into that Cloudy Rhine.
Ioma did it and won the map.
Yeah, but you know, like doesn't necessarily need to work out. Cloudy's good, is what I'm saying, and they are hard committed to this style. They're not gonna, you know, stray away from it, and I can respect that. I love that. That's some good EU Overwatch. You know what
Good
else
line.
I love?
Yeah.
Challenges.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, you know exactly what's going on. You know,
ready for this?
Listen, if there's one thing we love here on the desk, it's culture and challenges and punishments, and we combine all of that by issuing one. The person with the most inaccurate predictions by the end of the EMEA region games will be treated to a Swedish delicacy.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny,
Give it to me
walk us
straight.
through kippers.
Yeah.
What is it? How does it taste like? Where can one get it? And why would one want to have it?
It's pickled herring. You'll be fine.
Do you like herring?
No.
Do you like pickled things?
No.
You better get your predictions right today.
It's fine. You'll be introduced to some Swedish culture.
That's
it's all
right.
Good. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a learning experience. I believe only the one with the worst predictions, the most wrong predictions, is going to get punished. Or maybe we just make it a capital punishment for everyone. I don't know. We figure it out as we go along. For now, we actually do need to take a look at our predictions. That's right. Let's see who we think is coming out on top. I gave this one to VP. While I do love the Reinhardt, and I do think it's so fun to watch, I just think that good, honest Overwatch will prevail in this series.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I went with VP. I think that
I went VP. What's happening there?
Wait, listen. Hey,
I said
keep it there. You can keep
No.
SRPeakCheck. I'll take the VP prediction.
No.
You can keep the Reinhardt team,
Someone
and
wants
I'll.
me to eat kippers.
Someone in production set a challenge and then gave you SRPeakCheck. That is crazy.
Listen, this is
crazy from
completely
production.
fine. I'll take my safe.
No.
3-1 for VP. I'm gonna give SRPeakCheck. Oh, I'm gonna give him a map just because the Reinhardt and the Sim, it's chaotic. It's hard to deal with. I've been there before. It's not easy to deal with, but VP is the better team.
Yeah, I'm going with VP as well. I don't know what Zoe. I don't know what you're cooking. I don't know what you're cooking, Zoe.
What's going on?
What is going on? I did not have it in writing either, so I had.
It's on the screen. So.
It's on the screen, but you gotta. What I said does not match the imagery on your screens right now. I'm not trying to play both sides. I just really don't want to eat kippers. But okay, I'm locked in.
Wow.
Go, Cloudy.
Wait, are you actually going with Cloudy and SRPeakCheck?
No, I wasn't, but apparently I am. So like now I'm part of the 16% of believers.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe. Yeah. I guess I'll try some herring later today. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
Good for you.
Omega 3. Is it actually?
I think so.
Oh,
Great,
perfect.
right?
Well, either way, one of these teams is going to stay alive in the lower bracket and the other one will be going home. And that's way more important than whether or not either of us will be eating some pickled fish on broadcast, although that's fairly entertaining. Now, speaking of entertainment, we, of course, brought in the big guns for this one. Mitch and Matt are running us through this. Are you part of our pickled herring challenge too?
Yes.
Can I force you to eat something?
Absolutely
Definitely
not.
is.
Does
this guy look like someone who eats pickled herring?
He looks like an adventurous type.
No.
He should.
He looks like he just got
He
back
looks
from
adventurous,
Mar-a-Lago.
he
What are you
looks-
talking about?
Look at this McGravy. If they're mean to you there, you let me know. All right? You let
What
me
is
know.
he?
Don't
What
let
is
them
he
be
going
mean
to
to you,
do? What is he
McGravy.
going to do? You know what I can do?
Me?
I can put my shoe
I'm
on Matt's
dangerous
face
in
at
this
any
stream.
time, and he can't do anything about it. Did you know
What?
that?
Hey.
See that?
Hey, you take that
Can't do
away.
anything about it. So what's he going to do? How's he going to help you? Gravy. Yeah, you can only
Nothing.
trust
He's
yourself.
gonna do nothing.
Exactly. That's what I thought. All right, now,
Unbelievable.
look, we have seen this SRPeakCheck team find ways to make this Reinhardt composition work, right? I think that's a lot of the crux of the discussion here over on the desk. They're making use of Sim, like Daned obviously switching to Sim. They're playing Junkrat against Bastion comp. So they've even got measures to try and deal with the counter comp against them.
Yeah, they're trying to counter the comp that comes in to counter them. Ilios first pick here by VP, so it's actually a really good map pick, right? Reinhardt doesn't really have a great opportunity to get things rolling on this map as opposed to like a Lijiang Tower, but yeah, I think this one will be really interesting, especially because VP obviously playing with the pressure like Jonathan talked about, where you got to win this, you got to win versus TM to secure your spot for Stockholm, right? So a little bit of extra added pressure. SRPeakCheck would have to go on the run of all runs, right? They'd have to run the table and win it from losers here to make it, which seems kind of improbable at the moment. Potentially.
Not again, Cloudy.
We heard in the interview. We get the Cloudy. Unfortunately, this time it's not comboed with a Junkrat. We would have loved to see Doom Junk yet again, but it is actually a comp with the Doom that makes a bit more sense.
Simply not a map that you can really make Reinhardt work on well. Is probably the worst possible Ilios map that SRPeakCheck could have drawn up. So it must have been a Doomfist with the Florida Mayhem.
The only thing that doesn't really make sense here is the Baptiste, because you're like, you know, maybe the Kiri would have been a bit better here, right? Because I don't know what value you're getting out of this. Little 360, okay.
All right, well, Daned already brought down by Shockwave, of course. Adventure really needs to stay out of line of sight against that Ash whenever possible. And yeah, Baptiste can only kill Doom when they are ground-born, which is not really where they want to be against a Pharah anyway. So this is what happens when you have a one-trick team, I guess. Cloudy and Ghost do not want to play anything else.
You cook a little too hard. Okay, now we're getting Reaper in the mix, so we're getting
yes.
Reaper Sim here with
Reaper versus the Pharah comp, always a great option.
Reaper Sim Doom, the Pharah counters.
Might be the literal, I mean, yeah, the literal worst composition against this. Okay, usually you've got to let me ease into my workday before you hit me with this absolute tomfoolery.
This is like a comp where if you're one of the supports and like ranked, you just like basically, you put the game on mute, you just turn your music up and just wait for it to end.
Yeah, you should start blasting Pendulum and just try and forget about your life. Still, he'll be able to find Shockwave, but Daned down, of course. Yeah, this vulnerability as well as the Pharah now late in the fight is definitely going to start to find him mark. Gala, a tickle. I think they realized they got punched, but it wasn't powered up, so not hugely disruptive. Virtus.pro able to play around that orbital ray pretty comfortably, despite having a comp that is more sparsely distributed than many right now.
Okay, I mean, I like this better now with the Reinhardt, right? You get better value with, you know, the immortality field, all the things that the Baptiste can provide, right? You're really not getting much value out of the Amp Matrix, right? It's literally just the BAP and, you know, a little bit of the Juno damage. But you see the Pharah just pounding the shield. It's already basically gone.
Got a good use case for the Sim now as well. Cloudy with a fire strike to the air. It caught on a sauna, but even with the damage boost there, I think the orbital ray came a little bit later, so it couldn't benefit from that. Here comes Sauna, that drops down. Ghost eliminated instantly here in SRPeakCheck's composition. This is worst case scenario, to be fair, for a Reinhardt team on Ilios. So it looks like SRPeakCheck are just going to accept this, let the round go, and hope to get a better draw. Ideally Ruins in the next round.
Yeah. I think actually Lighthouse probably, right? There you can play inside with the Reinhardt there a bit better. Ruins with how spacious it is, right? Unless you're going to kind of commit to play some long-range hit scan, you're going to be in a lot of trouble against that Pharah. So I think you just, you know, SRPeakCheck, you just chalk that one up, and they do get Ruins here for the second one. So I think this is a little bit of an unfortunate draw. I think the Ashe and the Pharah here especially going to be really difficult to deal with.
Ashe Pharah with the switch for Rajaro here over to Orisa. I don't forget the Iliari here, but it is obviously, that's a very typical Virtus.pro approach. We've seen them mix Iliari into a lot of their compositions in the past, where otherwise it's not been as desirable. Again, against a team with low mobility, you might feel that you could really get a lot of work out of the healing pylon. So Canale will be sticking to that pick. Virtus.pro, a lot of long-range pressure here. Fire and Danad really need to make maximum use of that Reinhardt shielding.
Yeah, well, they also probably feel like they can just keep the Orisa alive and maybe not necessarily feel that they're going to be threatened in terms of the backline. So that's where you can play the Illari. You see Dana throwing out some sim turrets there, blocking off that angle. It'll be Kanale getting to the high ground here. They'll put down some serious damage.
Yeah, Ghost quite low here. And that Cloudy shield, pretty low. It's going to force the charge in for the Rhine here, but Cloudy says, okay, well, health is a resource. Going to use it to try and flip this. However, LP did fall, so SRPeakCheck, who really now have to rely on Baptiste for so much of that healing, need to see Fire make a big impact here. Just the one kill may not be enough.
Well, I mean, he gets the kill and then gets the immortality field, trying to keep himself alive. He has to go back for the health pack. But even when SRPeakCheck took the point, you know, if you're paying attention to the top of the screen, right, their health bars, everybody, you get that one kill on a Rajaro, but everybody is like 40% HP, and below. So you get that one kill, but you give up most of your team's resources in terms of health pool, right? And then they just kind of come back, take the point rather easily. So, you get that space in the beginning, but at what
I love
cost?
that Kanale can put these healing pylons in the most obvious places. And you can't, like, SRPeakCheck can't really shoot them at long range outside the Baptiste. So you just sort of throw it out there. It's like, well, we'll just move it when we have to, I guess. A lot of value gained for the Iliari, and now, of course, they can't do something just around the corner. Kanale, though, is able to find 2 kills. Well, just gets to do what they please.
They take the TP there, does SRPeakCheck, and as soon as they do, I mean, they're met with a Dynamite, Far Rockets, just the works there. So, Kanale playing, I mean, this is as aggressive as you could possibly get here, sitting up top on the high ground with his own Pharah.
See the healing pylon up there on top of the...
They just got to TP the Reaper up there.
Yeah, okay. I think they're just trying to get around for the time being, but they're grouped up for a captive Sun. Cloudy keeps the Parasol up. Might have been a connection there. Hard to really tell. It's going to be Rajaro now, caught on the point, but quite happy to be playing amongst that orbital ray. Symmetra Wall here, able to break up line of sight to make the Terror Surge virtually useless. And Cloudy was able to deal with the Bob here, so a lot of ultimate spent there by Virtus.pro, and yet SRPeakCheck were able to move in and take control.
Yeah, I mean, the sim wall is still really impactful, right? So, we talk about this comp that SRPeakCheck is trying to run, obviously much more difficult than running something that's a little bit more meta at the moment. The sim wall seems to be such a powerful ultimate, though, when we watch them play in terms of winning fights, right? It just blocks off all of that long-range pressure onto the Rhine. You can play in that type of position with the Reaper, and it's really difficult to go up against.
Cloudy getting that shield pressured down. But more than happy just to play to the left-hand side if he needs to get out of LOS. Fire as well as looking for a way to get in. Okay, sees Kanale buffing, but he has been spotted. Okay, almost TP directly into a barrage there. Sauna really can't be affected across the map, even so vulnerable being held still in that barrage. And that's a beautiful Death Blossom. Fire drops down and Cloudy stops that charge so he doesn't go over the edge, but makes sure Rajaro is knocked into the abyss.
Yeah, another fight win here for SRPeakCheck. They're going to come up and end up taking the lead here, but what do they have to work with coming up? It'll be Sauna going over to the Tracer here, just trying to put a little bit more pressure on the backline. And how did Dana get that kill there on the shotgun toward the end? I mean, that's a little bit odd, as we'll see Sauna just 1v1 here against Fi on the left side. Our health pack already taken.
This is kind of why I think this is a decent map for the Rhine comp, especially if SRPeakCheck don't play out in the open, allow Rhine to play on point and just contest. See, fine, TP's up there. Charge missed for Cloudy. Would like to force Rajaro away, but can't really afford to give Marissa too much of that attention. Rajaro now being able to fortify him. Mortality kill thrown down. Taned also in the front line, but it's a risky place to be. He does have the damage at least to take Rajaro down, but the lion's share of healing for SRPeakCheck has been taken out in the form of the Baptiste. But all of VP's backline is gone. And SRPeakCheck should be able to take this map from this point onward. They've done a very good job of mitigating their weaknesses here, even on a more open map like Ruins, as they've done all the way through this main event run.
Yeah, the predictive pin there, Rajaro coming back on the ball. Cloudy just pinning right on through. Where they have a real chance now, I believe, to win this map number 1. Right now you go over to Lighthouse, a pretty good map here for Reinhardt, especially like Reinhardt Reaper Sim. You can play close quarter. In a definite position where they can end up stealing this map number 1, make things interesting.
Lucio Baptiste, a very reasonable setup here, but I think that orbital ray, that last fight for SRPeakCheck was pretty clutch because Rajaro was overextended, fighting 1v3 at some point, and almost had the kill on Daned, but so much of that Juno healing on the
They're
point.
gonna go Sim May here. I mean, this would be a lot of survivability. Let's see if SRPeakCheck just does play. Okay, so they're gonna drop the Juno as well and
it's
play
good.
Lucio here.
I mean, the comp is good. The May Sim.
Why'd you sound so upset? When
No,
you
I'm
said
happy to see. It was just like, I suppose the realization it was more the May pick. I don't know why I'm so May pilled right now, but we've seen teams do so much with her. I think the wall is still the most powerful ability in this entire game. So speed to point with TP, right, we get to fight when we want to. Like you mentioned at the start of the game, this makes you reasonably safe to the Pharah poke. She definitely can harass you and get some rockets over the Ryan shield, but it's not easy. There aren't great sidelines for Pharah in general, but eventually Sauna's able to pick Ghost off. So it's just Lucio healing for you now, and I don't know if SRPeakCheck want to hang around just to get staggered on the point, but VP have to get rid of them all before they can cap, so it's free percentage either way.
Yeah, they just don't have really much of a choice there, SRPeakCheck, right? Once you get the point there and the Pharah rockets are starting to rain down, there's no way you're gonna get out of dodge there. Maybe like a TP, but it's gonna be pretty predictable where everybody's going. So it's flipped right away.
Rajaro is playing quite far forward, man, because he doesn't want to let SRPeakCheck just TP to the point for free. SRPeakCheck VP want to find SRPeakCheck out in the open if they can, but yeah, this TP basically denies them that option, and we're back to having the point flipped, and you have to now dig them out again.
How many times can you let them flip point and get like 25%, right? I mean, you win a fight here, right?
So
all SRPeakCheck, you just got to be talking about, like, look, if they're gonna allow us to get to the point, right, we're gonna get 20% every clip we get there. We just need to win a fight, right?
They're trying not to let them do this,
and you're good.
But it is difficult because you can't go down into the mega room on the right hand side and like fight SRPeakCheck. That's like a little too risky. Look, they just want to play indoors, which is completely reasonable, but it's also where they're favored in like a straight fight. Here come VP though, and with that orbital ray, they definitely have an edge. They can fight SRPeakCheck in their home territory, but there is a sound barrier here, yeah. Beat comes down, Fires Blizzard doesn't really seem to catch anyone out though, and VP are still healthy and still have 4 ultimates to spend. It's the Bob now that can go to point contest for them, or it should have. SRPeakCheck get to flip it back again, and once again, we're doing the same thing. Now we've got to get them off the point while they get free percentage.
Yeah. So they have the get the point thing down. It's just hold the point is where we're lacking a little bit here for SRPeakCheck.
So the game is even. Like what?
They've got this concept down of capturing the point really well. It's just winning the fights after that. And I mean, look, it takes some. They're getting drilled as they end up making their way towards the point, right? It's just
okay. TP's down.
They don't have really much of an option after this. So this might be the best for Virtus.pro, right? They finally actually get a fight win before they get a chance to flip the point.
Yeah, I mean, because they killed that TP, and also, VP are now not going via the mega room. They're going to that sort of hut in the middle part of the map. So this requires 2 TPs, as opposed to just the one that they were using across from the mega room to point to this room here, the mega room is what I call it, to the point itself. And VP don't want to fight them here. They're also probably a little wary of a shatter when they want to fight them close, but here we're doing it again, baby. Run it back. This is the last chance that SRPeakCheck have to make this happen, and this is completely reasonable to shatter a diva like that. But Cloudy needed one more swing to get rid of the baby, and Rajaro is going to get back into the neck now with the orbital ray. This is not what SRPeakCheck wanted to see in this fight. And under the orbital ray, they can fight SRPeakCheck when they are strong and beat them at their own game. There's Ilios. I would say a fun map to watch because, I don't know, SRPeakCheck decide, as we expected, to kind of keep doing their thing. But you can see what they had to do to mimic a fraction of the Juno comp's power.
Yeah, I mean, they're able to get control of the point there towards the end on Lighthouse numerous times, just not able to win any types of fights, right? Rajaro getting in there, kind of keeping it contested at times on the diva, but just the damage from Sauna on the side, on the far. I mean, there's just no answer, no response, and eventually you just get willed down.
But there was a whole discussion between the two of us about what the better Ilios map was for this Reinhardt comp.
I did be in
well, yeah, I think I just felt like that on a conceptual level, because much like on Nepal Village, Pharah is really annoying there. If you have a Ryan May comp, it's fine because you can sort of protect the point from like 2 angles, and it's hard to poke in at you. But on Lighthouse, it's not so easy. Even with Ryan Sim May, like the Pharah can circle around the point on Lighthouse from like any angle, right? Not just 2 like on Ilios, but it's like 4 different spots. Plus, she can drop in the top. I think the sim use here was really important. The problem is, even with this like Reinhardt Brawl comp, if you don't have Juno and you take Lucio, and maybe you feel like you have to have it on a map like Lighthouse, you don't have Orbit Array, and I'm sorry, you still can't, even with like a comp that wants to play close, you can have Ryan, Reaper, Sim, whatever. But if you fight against Orbit Array, you will lose the fight. You lose. It could be Diva, it could be Junkrat, it could be God knows what else. You cannot beat that.
The speed's not as good, right? Like Juno's speed is pretty good, right? But I think Lucio's just way easier to use in terms of like the aura and everybody kind of grouping together. But everything else, I feel like Juno has the advantage, right? In terms of healing output, damage output, ultimate, right? I think Sound Barrier, I think, is still really good, but I think Orbital Race just, I mean, it's just on another level right
And
now.
I think that, like, you know, you can emulate some degree of Lucio's utility with that, you know, hyper ring. You probably just want some environmental kill potential on, you know, like a map like, you know, Lighthouse, which is, it's fine, but Diva can't be knocked off the map. Farah can't really be knocked off the map. Like, your options to get value, like, what are you going to do to Juno? Oh, okay. She can probably avoid getting knocked off the map too. So if that's your reasoning for picking Lucio, I just don't know if that's a strong enough case to go without Orbital Ray there.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a scary question because I don't think anybody in the world knows. What does SRPeakCheck do here? Like, where do they want to go? Rialto, I think we've seen Reinhardt do well
They don't
on.
go there. They go to Runasafi, I think. They also, I think we saw them play this
could be this could be a little bit of a wild card, you know, Hanaoka, Throne of Anubis toss in, right?
Didn't they pick Suravasa and try to play this Ryan comp there? No, wait, they switched into, was it a Sigma mirror we ended up seeing?
Yeah, they played Sigma.
I mean, like, credit to Cloudy, like, he does realize when, like, you know, he does understand when he just really can't get away with the run. You don't play, I don't think you play into these hybrid maps right now. I think you probably try and avoid those. Runasapi is fine, yeah. Suravasa, Runasapi are probably the maps you want to go to. And yeah, like, conceptually speaking, Rialto is good, but you might have to play against Shockwave on, like, a long-range hit scan. I don't think you're excited about that prospect. This is reasonable. And I honestly think with Sim, you can do some really dirty stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Sim allows for the comp to access the backline and just insane mobility, right? It's just when they're playing the Pharah and they're just, you know, putting so much damage. I mean, you were talking about it, right? They destroy the one fight that they end up winning before they actually get to the point. It's when they destroy the TP, right? So the Pharah can clearly see the TPs coming. You know, if you destroy that TP, and let's say you destroy it and half the people make it through or whatnot, I mean, you're pretty screwed. You don't really have anything else to kind of get you back into it.
SRPeakCheck are prolific pickers of Runasapi in map number 2, by the way. They basically go there every single time they lose a control map. They did it against a one-man army. They won it there. And then they actually chose to play Junkertown and Kings in that series. So Junkertown for SRP, I mean, play the May. Play the May. And maybe I'm on board with that. I really think after what we've seen from Space Station, you can get away with some of these weird comps on a lot of maps because May is just way too good right now. I don't know. She's just always. Can you think of a hero that's been so consistently like impactful in all areas of the game, more so than May, for like the whole life of the game? Like,
oh man, I mean, Tracer, right? Tracer, I think, obviously is always
but it feels like they've
good.
done it differently. Like, May with her pure utility has just been like a must-have for such a
well. So she's always fit in. So her damage output's pretty good, right? Her utility's really good. High survivability.
Remember she used to freeze people
so she's,
with a M1?
I mean, yeah. I mean, so she's always fit into a lot of different like archetypes well, right? SRPeakCheck actually, they will play the Reaper Sim here, so trying to maybe put a lot of pressure onto that Orisa there. So they actually get to the backline, they get Canale.
That's pretty beautifully done here. Immortality Field not even really needed there. Cloudy a little low, but won't get ahead of the bot here. There's no real reason for SRPeakCheck to push down this straight away.
I tell you what though, Reinhardt's, you know, we joke about this Reinhardt comp. I don't think this hero is that far away from being, you know, obviously some of the other tanks have like way better like personal survivability, Reinhardt can't do damage while trying to keep himself alive. Like he's a sneaky buff or two away, I think, from being non-laughable. Like I think actually could be pretty good.
I don't know if that immortality for Ghost was intended for Cloudy. It must have been, but it doesn't actually reach him in the end. Cloudy is the only player that takes that TP into, frankly, Narnia, and then just gets caught out in the open by his own design.
Well, you also see how difficult it is for the Rein to fight in that open space, right?
That's
one of the instances where you talk about, like, well, yeah, I mean, well, in theory, you could use your shield to protect yourself, right? But if you're holding your shield up, you're not a threat to the other team, right? So you're okay with that, as that's an instance of the teleporter going down, the dynamite going through it, some far rockets as well, and that's an insta-kill on the sim.
Yeah, and that's the telegraphed nature of this Reinhardt composition. Sometimes just allows you to throw a bunch of spam damage in that direction, and you know there's a good chance that SRPeakCheck are not going to bait with a TP while you have bots. You know they have to go through to contest you, so you can have a relatively high degree of certainty that they're coming your way.
Well, let's put it this way. You would know if they're coming towards you without the TP and faking it if there's a large speed ring. You know, it's not like, you know, Lucio just kind of like, you know, obviously amps and then just kind of like runs past. You have a good idea where that speed ring comes in. That's going to be an immortality field already, trying to keep everybody alive as they go through that TP, and that's a rocket barrage that just added insult to injury pretty much, right? Everybody took so much damage right away.
Both sides, of course, able to, you know, make use of those Juno ultimates there. Sort of saw how that played out. But I mean, these teams are both strong in the same area. Like, playing those corners is where Ryan wants to be. But that's also where Sauna is quite happy floating around. And, you know, sending rockets over the Rhine shield, sending, you know, dynamites of Shockwave over the Rhine shield or around it. It's a little annoying. Like, SRPeakCheck need to do the obvious thing, the telegraphed run in with the speed ring to win their fights. It comes out here, but it's more of a disengaged one.
The Aris is also way better at fighting in that instance than the Rhine, right? That's like, should be in theory where Rhine is pretty successful, right? Fighting around those corners, in using just kind of his damage output and not having to keep the shield up, right? Using the corners, obviously, for the natural cover. But Arisa with the spear spin and then fortify, and then even getting another fortify there with Terror Surge, she just becomes unkillable.
Your issues,
she can just push the Rhine into so many awkward
Your
spots.
issues with Rhine, Matt, get boiled down to Rhine cannot take space while being a threat at the same time, like Arisa can.
Yes.
Right? You take space, but you need to trade your shield health to do so. You have some cooldowns, but they're not exciting. They also force you to put yourself in harm's way like this. So Virtus.pro get up to 114 meters. SRPeakCheck here a long way behind now, and that was an orbital raid from Gala. Ilpi also reciprocating. It will be Virtus.pro's Juno that gets brought down, and Ilpi will be traded. So that is Juno for Juno action. We are now in a 3v3, but Sauna, yeah. Well, Cloudy has an umbrella to shelter from much of this, but Rajaro comes in and takes a third kill.
Well, you know, throughout that entirety, right, Virtus.pro is losing players, but SRPeakCheck is so low and they're taking so much spam damage that they can't actually kind of like push on up and take advantage of it, right? I mean, they're just like, if they do kind of move up around those corners, like, they're going to end up dying from some of this splash damage. So although they're kind of like getting kills and in theory like winning the fight with a closer spawn and how fast VP gets back, there's not an opportunity for them to capitalize.
Okay, Sim Wall, this should be where SRPeakCheck is at their most powerful in general. Outside of the orbital raid, Rajaro forced to sort of play out in the open while there's so much safety for SRPeakCheck to poke them down from behind the wall. They will get moving here, but it is a massive deficit to try and overcome now.
Yes, that time they kind of push Canal and Rajaro out into a corner, and then they get some nice damage with that Sim. The Sim starts to ramp, but that's really like the fight-winning ultimate here for SRPeakCheck really is that sim wall, right? You get the sim wall down. That allows the Reinhardt to play a little bit more freely. That also, I know, allows everybody to kind of get into position a little bit better, and you see how it benefits them there.
Bob and Dynamite here goes down to some degree of pressure, and Shockwave got suplex there. Not much to say about that for SRPeakCheck. At least they didn't waste any ultimates. So how do they really turn this air matrix into like a threatening scenario, SRPeakCheck?
I mean, it's almost used for like you know, just ghosts and then the healing. Yeah, I mean, you're just taking so much damage that you kind of have to use it in terms of like another like healing cooldown per se, right? I mean, what, you're not gonna kind of set up fire strikes on through it, right? Maybe you toss one on through, but
it's not as exciting
really
anymore.
Not a lot of people that can capitalize on
No, I
it.
mean, like most heroes in this game now are 250 HP, so it's not that exciting. Rajara here, they're going to be caught. The shatter comes out from Cloudy. He finds a window, and that's just, again, we saw that on Ilios Lighthouse. He just shatters the Diva when she turns up. You can, win your frontline battle by just throwing the shatter down. You are very happy with that. Now, that is just a prelude to what is going to be a much bigger fight. This next one here is probably going to be one that really decides how these next 3 minutes go. We have all our support ultimates
They've really struggled. They really struggled in terms of like winning fights without, kind of ult dumping into it, right? You think back to Ilios, right? They're able to win some fights, but to kind of chain fights together like 2-3 in a row, that's where they kind of end up struggling outside of Ruins, where another fight win here would be huge.
LPO gets caught out by that. That's not good. I think Fire was hoping to come out with a Death Blossom onto the Orisa. Eventually does make use of it there, but that is pretty rough for SRPeakCheck, and yet Virtus.pro, having lost Rajaro, have to be careful. They're going to give the checkpoint away. I like that from Shockwave, a boost up there with the coach gun to avoid the charge, but Virtus.pro are not going to give much more ground than this.
Yes, they get checkpoint, but they have to back on up, right? You have to get the supports back in the mix, and I think if you're VP, just play these corners, right? Drain the clock, Shockwave into opportunity here with another Bob, right? We saw in this type of position, kind of shut the Bob through the side. It's able to get the support, so see if they just kind of play a little bit slower here. VP doesn't seem like they really care to be that much more offensive, right?
Yeah, and there's like that corner play, right? You can see how it's just good for VP as well, and Sauna can do that kind of stuff. Immortality field in play there, so the barrage is going to be a little bit hard to make lethal. Once this wall is down, Rajara will step forward. That's when things get a little dangerous for SRPeakCheck, and they know it. They've already sort of preemptively disengaged now and waiting for Cloudy to rejoin them. Bob could be big here. And is that a catch on Fire? No, he can get out. Here's Bob. Rajaro almost gets taken down.
Really low.
Can he get him back up? No, still the Fortify. Oh, the timing for Cloudy not quite there. And frankly, Kanail's shield blocks a lot of that shatter as well. Sauna does go down. Ghost is able to find it with the amplification matrix. That's at least one window, no pun intended, there you can threaten the Farah with this composition. And Cloudy, well, that's the way that Ryan goes sometimes.
Dude.
Just knocked off the map.
I hope we have that from Rajaro's POV, right? Shockwave ends up with one, killing Fi, Coach Gun, and it looks like Cloudy is actually going to try and pin over towards Shockwave, and the spear spin of Rajaro just like knocks him off course. I believe knocks him off the side of the map there. Pretty sick play.
And she does it with such ease.
From the Orisa.
It's just the press of a button. That's why Orisa is just very powerful in this matchup. All right, LP fancy a bit of damage there from the torpedoes, but at least he's able to get out of that Terror Surge. But look how vulnerable SRPeakCheck are. My goodness, they get roasted to such an extent that Gala's able to find 2 kills with torpedoes. You know just how low they were.
Yeah, this is pretty brutal here for SRPeakCheck because the bot going to go deeper back into their territory. So all that progress they made, obviously getting checkpoint and then keeping the bot for a decent amount of time there towards mid-map is all going to be lost, right? So now they're fighting a very large uphill battle.
VP reclaiming the front spawn. And really have no reason to push any further than this. They may have tracked Rally here, or rather, excuse me, they may have tracked the orbital ray from SRPeakCheck. Is it every second fight? That's basically your cadence for it. So they can sit. And they can wait here for SRPeakCheck to extend forward here. Shockwave already is tickling them here, pressuring at their flanks. Both supports playing out in the open now as Cloudy tried to take the fight inside. 6 seconds left.
Well, look at this. I mean, VP, they just back up, right? There's no real incentive for them to push on forward. They're going to play around this rocket barrage, and they have the rally to work with.
Okay, Symbol's going to shut that down, though. It's not an option. They've actually fallen back out to the edges of the map, which is pretty scary for them here, especially because SRPeakCheck can play around this Sim wall. Rajaro eventually just gets chunked down. I like this position from Shockwave. Ghost, has to throw that air matrix down here, but it's not remotely enough. Both support ultimates come out from SRPeakCheck, and they don't do a darn thing here. That's a comp gap, as we were expecting to see. I mean, Runasapi selected by SRPeakCheck. Not the greatest of showing.
Well, I mean, we see there with Shockwave, right? Like, it's really difficult for mostly anybody on SRPeakCheck to engage with the Ashe or the Pharah unless they've already gotten, you know, 2 kills on the front line, right? Unless they've already dealt with like the Orisa and another player. Shockwave, how many times were you on with him where he's able to just go on a flying throw of dynamite? I mean, you know, the hit scan player is unthreatened when like they're not even moving the character, literally just aiming, just standing still and aiming, and Shockwave there able to just click heads towards the end. And a lot of the time, I mean, Sauna only ends up dying in fights where they kind of need to reset. Just does a really nice job in the sky, putting down lots of far damage.
I mean, or he dies where there's an ant matrix, right? And he gets shot by a ghost, which is fine. But those moments are so few and far between. This is that odd TP out into the open by Cloudy. Maybe was looking to charge, but then there's a lot of fighting that happens in this part of the map, in fairness.
So what can you even work into this Reinhardt comp, though, that would fix some of this? Like, that's what I'm trying to, like, can you play, like, Cassidy? So the sim feels like you kind of need to. I was going to say, like, can you play Cassidy May, right? And just kind of play Cassidy May with, like, Juno Brig, right? But at that point, you're too slow.
Yeah, the question is better framed is what you go without in order to play the Cassidy as well. Like...
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, you could argue that there's like an analog for the Reaper in this comp that maybe gives you a little bit more equity against the longer range stuff. But playing Cassidy into Ashe Pharah, by the way, not very fun. It's actually kind of awful.
No.
Were Sojourn a little stronger, I might consider it. Maybe you can play Ashe as well, but the fact that your front line can't really make that space for you is pretty frustrating.
It feels like you can't drop the BAP, right? Because you need the immortality field for the Rhine.
Oh no, 100%. If you're playing Ryan, I think you really need Baptiste here because you need a way to make space just outside of the 2,000 or however much HP that the Ryan shield generates for you. You can see here, like, the kills to deaths, like, you know, it's like a 2.0 KD for Virtus.pro here. Their comp is just really well-rounded in general, and there weren't a lot of big mistakes, I think, on like a macro level that we saw from VP. They didn't have to really reinvent the wheel. They get space for Shockwave. They play corners with Sauna, put pressure down on the healers, and then when it's time to go, like, fortify off the Ryan Shatter, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, because I mean, so it feels like you have to keep the BAP, right? Can you drop the Juno for like a Lucio and just have a little bit more on-demand speed, and then maybe you're able to replace the Sim with something else?
They played that on Lighthouse, and our biggest gripe was, wow, they can't win a brawl fight if they don't have Juno ult. They just can't win it. If they fight against Orbital Ray, even with Sound Barrier, they just lose to a Diva comp, one that is not supposed to maybe beat you in like that boots on the ground, all in kind of fight. Okay, so this I've got the stats here. These guys pick Junkertown a lot if Runesapi doesn't work out. I don't know, like, if I have the strongest justification as to why that is, because I'm assuming they're going to keep playing Rhine and Sim-based compositions, but they did this against Aoma, and we actually watched them do this. They like to play that close spawn hold with the ride setup and bleed a lot of clock. And they did hold Aoma to a single checkpoint on that map. Now, if we enter a world where that close spawn hold doesn't work out, I'm worried. I'm certainly worried. But it's very good. It's a good strat. You play the Mei, right? I think they even played Junkrat Mei with the Ryan.
They did play Junkrat. Yeah.
So I think it's fine. You'll notice though that Virtus.pro haven't felt the need to try and play a specific hard counter comp to this Ryan setup yet at all this series. They're just playing their style. I don't think that's a great sign.
No, not at all. As SRPeakCheck, they'll end up on offense here to kick things off. We'll see how this fares for them. Is VP nothing surprising here in terms of what they want to do? They're going to keep running this out. I tell you what, VP versus Twisted Minds would be quite interesting since both teams really like using that Pharah. It could be a really odd matchup.
Yeah, I think it was the same as Piece of Cake as well, who liked playing the Pharah sort of setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be curious. So Sauna's on the Pharah here and does start to see like that sort of early detection system for SRPeakCheck put together. But the Pharah is so good against this. It is so good. I mean, again, what are they going to do? Shoot the Pharah with Ghost? That doesn't seem great. Good pressure at least on Rajaro though. And okay, SRPeakCheck able to find that damage on the front line. Sort of might need to take some more risks here. They need that Rhine shield out of the way.
Yeah, they end up losing the sim here, right? So not a lot of mobility here to access the back line.
Watch out.
Son able to put some shots down there on Ghost, but has to be really careful here.
This gets a little trickier, I think, as the car rounds the corner. There's more cover in this last part of the map here, but in general, the Ryan comp can stall out once they get through this little sort of underpass area. And Rajaro is back in business, already in the mortality field used. And Cloudy is healthy and it has that high ground, though. Dan able to beat Shockwave again. Inexplicable. I mean, I don't know. Don't know how he's managed to get that going. Cloudy comes forward now, and Matrix, this is very good. SRPeakCheck have got great protocols to try and overcome comps that are really hostile to what they're trying to do. There is some stall, though. I think you'll notice was a player from Virtus.pro on the cart there for a time. And here comes the Farah. Barrage in, goes down, and the immortality field he rode in on. But Rajaro gets cleaned up by Cloudy, and is an orbital ray that Gala has to use to stall, but this is not going to be lasting long at all. And SRPeakCheck, nicely done.
Yeah, and that's a double support ult used there by VP, so it was Canal using the rally to try and get a touch and then keep it contested, and then towards the end, Gala tries to throw in the orbital ray. Keep that one going, and not able to do so at all. And like you mentioned, SRPeakCheck doing a great job using the sim TPs, closing the gap here. No, it feels like Den has been able to find a pick at the beginning of a lot of these
Shockwave. Like, what? How is that happening? We'll have to catch it in action next time. Maybe TPing, maybe just like spamming down. Perhaps turrets were set up. Don't know, even the greatest minds are still scratching their heads. Okay, Card now are coming through the sim wall. Obviously, sim wall less good on these payload maps, but hello and goodbye. Cloudy goes upstairs and Shockwave goes even more upstairs with a halo to his name.
Yeah. It's clear there's a target they're trying to go after, right? As Shockwave, they just TP right on top of him. It feels like a few fights in a row. The Ash doesn't have a lot of mobility to get away. It doesn't have a lot of survivability, so they're able to just jump right on top of that Ash, take her out. And yeah, I mean, you're going to get the second checkpoint.
I don't know what he's supposed to do here, Bob, to stall at least, contest somewhat. Sauna goes quite low, and Fi trying to get out of the open for now. So SRPeakCheck happy to wait on this a little bit. Gala is... I guess he has not much choice there, playing very aggressively though. Sauna eventually brings Ghost down. SRPeakCheck will be ground to a halt here. Shockwave now knows that they can't do that again. That TP shatter play, of course, is reserved for only the very most venomous of moments. But really needs to be able to get the shield pressure down.
It's still great progress over SRPeakCheck, right? Early on in this match to be able to get the payload, almost that second checkpoint right away. Still 3 minutes plus on the clock. Dynamite here into the side room. Going to put some damage down, but yeah, that's the price you pay though when going through that teleporter in that close quarter area. Sauna connects with a rocket.
I do think it is just really nice to have a timely reminder that you can win, even with some of these, really strange compositions on maps that you would think they just don't work on. If you have a way to smooth over and compensate for your apparent weaknesses. This has been great from SRPeakCheck so far. There is concern about them now struggling because they've got a lot of expanse to cover with this comp.
I was going to say, keyword is so far, right? Let's see how it goes through now. As you see how difficult it is to get everybody inside of there. That's Dynamite going to have to healed up for everybody. Some far rockets, and the thing is when you take that much chip damage, you can't like kind of heal it on the move, right? It stalls them out. They have to wait a little bit, then heal up. It looks like players just knocked down there by Rajaro as they go through the sim TP. So now that's on cooldown, right? Now it's just more time off the clock.
Okay. Well, no rally there on Canal.
I don't think that's a fight. He's going to win.
Fi just got his clock absolutely cleaned. To be fair, Ghost is approaching like Bedosen level of like ult charge frequency with the Baptiste in this comp. Like it is almost guaranteed that you have air matrix like every fight with how long your neutrals are lasting. The problem is that you're also getting a lot of ult charge because you're being staggered out for the approximate length of the Mesolithic era.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're dying just like one by one, right? Like this is like the worst type of way you could go out, is everybody just kind of like bleeding out and rotting over time.
Yeah, they are decomposing out in the middle of the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just rough now. Inside the 90-second warning, but we do have sim wall here.
So this has been like 2 minutes off the clock, and they haven't really even gotten a fight, right? It's just kind of players just
They
running around
have
dying.
Symbol and Air Matrix though, so they've really got everything they need here. But if VP want to take an early fight here behind an Orbital Ray, it could all be for naught. Oh, SRPeakCheck have used both of their support ultimates, and they get, once again, absolutely nothing. Nada! Zilch!
I mean, the Orbital Ray Terror Surge Rocket Barrage combo inside close quarters is a filthy combination there for VP. No way SRPeakCheck was going to be able to live that regardless, right? Anyway, Immortality Field was gone rather quickly. Then after that, it's just a bloodbath. As Shockwave's got to be careful here. He's going to end up dying if they turn that corner. Yeah, so he wants to play close here and get like a Bob, right? Like it's kind of goes, everybody goes there.
Okay, Bob doesn't end up, I don't think, in the best place here. Yeah, not with the TP in play. I'm going to convene the meeting of Copers Anonymous here as Cloudy and Dan at least have their ultimates to work with. And Symbol, a little bit awkward to navigate around now, and Fire gets in there with the Death Blossom. Rajaro eventually falls, took way too much damage from the Reaper ultimate there. So SRPeakCheck are going to have this third checkpoint. Second checkpoint, rather.
Well, you might get a contest here. Let's see. You have a few players coming off a spawn.
You have a staggered player.
You still have one player left here. Yeah, I think Shockwave. I don't think you're going to be able to have everybody else.
It'd be war
back.
crimes if Shockwave actually gets value from here. They give that checkpoint.
Nah, looked like they were actually going to try and contest, right? Sada comes back on Tracer, but not able to get there just in time.
Well, another map ultimate up, by the way. Ghost building them awful quick. Shockwave there eventually got caught out as Fire was just having a TP back towards him.
I mean, when your tank has a 700 HP, pool of health, right? And looking like a blood decay and WoW, just gonna go from the 0 up to 100 all the time. Somebody's got to be gaining all that HP in terms of healing, and that is Ghost.
Yep. If you're looking at the stats at end of game and see SRPeakCheck 5, 6, 7k ahead on healing, that is why. They are playing very different.
I mean, yeah, you would imagine they're way ahead in terms of healing. As look at this, VP actually pushes out
on the Tracer. Now for Sauna.
Yeah, gets control of the door.
Oh my god. That is so brutal. Ryan charges in, TP behind him, whip shot to slow him down, stun comes out. The knockdown rather, and then a pulse bomb.
Yeah, it was the double stun, right? So when Reinhardt's charging and then the Brig stuns, they both kind of go to the ground. The advantage though there is that Sauna has a pulse bomb. As Sauna actually go to Venture here.
Right, Ghost, I don't mind this. Immortality Field to play around. Rajaro realizes he's bitten off more than he could chew here, but Virtus.pro are going to be in overtime on this cart push towards the end of the map, and they have used that Orbital Ray. They're going to be leaning pretty heavily on Ghost here, and VP is still happy to draw some of their resources out. Bob deployed, Shockwave able to find Daned at least. But look at where they're standing. Bob is... Yeah, okay. That's fine. He's in a different part of the map, a different instance.
Shockwave's still here, like in their spawn. It's Fine now decides to play some hit scans. So he gets a dynamite kill of the rip.
I mean, it's the second time Shockwave is like caught behind the play and dies in a staggered manner.
Sauna's in spawn, just changing heroes. I mean, he's gone from Tracer to Genji, now Pharah, in like a 2-second span.
Sauna has to respect this Amp Matrix. He does, able to force Ghost away from getting to use much of it. It'll be for Rajaro. Well, VP going to have to make work without a tank right now. Canal waiting in the high ground now until that wall goes away, but it sticks around for an obnoxiously long period of time. Immortality Field does get cleared, but Cloudy has a healthy shield and is ready to push up. Fire Strike elimination on Shockwave. He might be slept here, but Garlic can't do too much than stall it. Daned is well charged up. Here's Rajaro in a 1 versus 4, if not more. And they're going to give it over. SRPeakCheck get the map finished.
That is, I mean, obviously SRPeakCheck clutching up there, getting the full map completion, but feels like a bit of a fumble there from VP towards the end, right? It felt like that was a final point that they would have been able to hold quite early, quite far up, and they just give up a ton of space, and they end up giving up the map completion. A lot of just hero changing there at the end, where now at least SRPeakCheck is kind of confirmed like an OT, right?
Yeah, there are just a lot of things that SRPeakCheck can do with their comp as well, Matt, that really throw things into chaos. I think like that second last fight, there's a symbol that like cuts that last stretch of road in half. There's Ryan fighting on one side of the map, and then there's like Baptiste on an off angle with an Amp Matrix.
You're talking about the point 2,
No,
right?
I mean, like, just towards the end of the map there as well, as they rounded the corner. Like, you see Canal, like, sitting on the high ground doing nothing. Like, it's very, very awkward. I don't think Virtus.pro really
So they
knew what was
had
going on.
a sim wall even to take the second checkpoint, which looked a little bit odd because it was so far back, but they kind of like ended up flipping the map where SRPeakCheck started to move away with the payload actually towards the sim wall, right? Which made it really difficult. I mean, no way that they could really fight it on the VP side of things, and that allows them to get that second checkpoint. So,
And they won that fight after just
I-
having used both support ultimates in the prior.
yeah, I mean, the sim wall is pretty nasty. It's just.
Does Bastion get them what they need here? I like that TP. That is very rude.
Oh, man.
Oh, this is very annoying to clear. Who's going to shoot this guy? You can just like throw these tacks down. You also force a Ryan Comp now to play inside, and it gets a little harder to contest this cart. Cloudy can still do it, but he's back towards spawn. Now out in the open.
Well, they're trying to contest. They're trying to contest from the building, right, with the May and the Reinhardt, where you can just kind of cycle them onto the payload, but they end up losing the May, right? So that's obviously one half of the stall-based composition, and Sauna gonna stay. I think that's probably what they're discussing. Whether you stay on this, whether you swap.
Play Farah.
Looks like he was going back to swap. This is Farah probably. Oh no, okay, so you're gonna stay on it.
So, give us a little bit of.
The swap would be Farah, though.
I imagine, yeah, great here, especially against this. A preemptive Farah switching into the Junk would have been very good. Junk kind of answers this. Bastion, honestly, can play out of line of sight of Bastion and still damage him, of course, with those bouncing grenades. Fi also, yeah, looking pretty nice with it in general. Cloudy though gets sort of forced out of position there. Looks like there was a TP taken, but no one from SRPeakCheck really able to join him. Fi is very vulnerable here. Yep. We'll drop some nades and head back to spawn. So Virtus.pro, 2 consecutive fights here, really. Now they're not playing games. Now they're actively countering the Riot Comp.
Yeah, if the Bastion can get space, obviously, away from the TP and obviously the Junkrat spam there, it's really difficult. I imagine, though, using this ultimate is just a deterrence, and then you're going to swap after. That's what I would assume, but
There's no contest.
So they actually just... Yeah, they use it to just kind of get them off of the point. They end up picking a kill off the back of it.
Big damage. That might have been a attack grenade just in the midst of it. All of SRPeakCheck now as Cloudy's forced to drop down. Sauna, though, is removed. Immortality Field, Orbital Ray, everything basically used there by SRPeakCheck, but they can sit now back behind his Ghost Ultimate and TP upwards so Rajaro cannot chase them without going for the stairs himself. Here's Virtus.pro now going for that Orbital Ray. Cloudy very healthy now playing around this sim wall, but they've lost Ilpi. Yeah, I think without the Juno, this is a little too much for SRPeakCheck. As nice as this strat with the TPs is, they just don't have the healing.
Yeah, any fight that gets a little bit prolonged, right? They just don't have the survivability, it seems like, for SRPeakCheck. Is that'll be another fight win there for VP. Is they're going to get around to potentially get that second checkpoint, right? Maybe get another fight here for SRPeakCheck. It looks like everybody trying to come out towards that high ground. You will have the Ant Matrix on the high ground. Maybe with the Junk could put some down some damage.
Shockwave trying again with this like weird off-angle play from the Ash. Fine, good dynamite pressure. Who got shattered there? Absolutely bloody no one. Riptire now for Fi. This is a posthumous Riptire, as Rajaro is already able to take down the Junkrat. Can we at least get a Pyrrhic victory here? No, okay. Shockwave though removed by a charge of all things, as they were probably playing on the low ground there. This is a little awkward now for VP as they have to try to find a way to get out of here. Rajaro might have a different idea about this. And Matrix up for Ghosts.
So Rajaro actually ends up getting to the payload, right? So it's going to try and drag some of these players down from the high ground as Ant Matrix, everybody kind of spreads. Ooh, nice deflect damage here from Sana. Oh, and the dynamite there from Shockwave gets
So big, it's a headshot actually. He's just having to find him after the fact. Blade now comes out from Sauna. Cannot quite get purchase on Ghost. Fi's able to step up and contest and prevent that checkpoint from being taken. Now Canale has to fight 1v2. Yeah, against a boosted Reaper. As LP able to throw that orbital right down. Virtus.pro now starting to lose some precious seconds. They'll need to regroup.
Yeah, it was that high ground play there from SRPeakCheck, right? Getting control of that high ground. They had the Junkrat at the time. Able to get control of that area, put VP in a really difficult spot. As VP now, though, they come back with a Bob, probably end up getting double support ult here. This will be a really difficult fight for SRPeakCheck to win.
That TP there. That's the kind of one that can be thrown out by Daned to allow him to be flanking and then in the fight when he needs to be. Here comes Bob, going to go over towards the point and set this up, but Rajaro's already very low early in the fight. Now they're playing inside that orbital ray. SRPeakCheck do not want a bar of VP until that has expired properly, but Fire couldn't get away, couldn't bide his time, could not avoid the scrutiny of Virtus.pro, and Shockwave has such a privileged position to play from now. No one can pressure him down. Cloudy forced to try and contest card, and just like you called it, Matt, a very hard fight for SRPeakCheck to win, let alone put a scratch on Virtus.pro.
I mean, high ground is king, right? You're able to get the high ground there for VP, kind of force SRPeakCheck down, especially having a hit scan on your team, right? I know SRPeakCheck able to win a fight from the high ground just with the Junkrat and the AM Matrix the last time, but this time VP gets control of the high ground, and very difficult to deal with the Ashe there.
Good time to push up here, especially around this sim wall. Forces VP to come forward of it if they want to get value out of most of their composition. And frankly, they're happy to brawl a bit. They've got a Genji here in the mix. The Brig can do that to some degree. Fire's living dangerously now, as that was a very necessary Terror Surge for Rajaro for that Fortify, and allow Shockwave at least to get some big damage down.
I think SRPeakCheck was a little bit surprised there, Mitch, that there were some players from VP behind as Fi goes for a Death Blossom there. Because they dropped that sim wall, they push on forward, but you see a few members of VP actually were already past that sim wall at the time, right? So Shockwave and Rajaro specifically able to put down some damage there, and that's one instance where the sim wall actually doesn't result.
No, in some ways it feels like cage fight, in that you want to jump into the cage if you're a team with a couple players caught in there. Like this Orisa comp can fight up close outside of the Ashe, who really like to step back a bit. Okay, here's an orbital ray from Ilpi. Cloudy going to get inside of that straight away and hope that a challenger presents themselves, but Virtus.pro also have that Juno ultimate of their own. Play for Sauna. Yeah, Immortality Field really just an afterthought there as Ghost tried to head upstairs with the Exo Boots who got taken down, but Cloudy able to predict, able to turn around. Canale dealt with now, but Ilpi has been removed by Gala. It's a Juno advantage now for Virtus.pro. And Gala's able to find yet another. Cloudy dragged down. Daned now exposed out in the open under scrutiny. And Shockwave is able to remove him. VP don't have a huge time bank here, and it's still a whole nother fight to win.
And you got an AM Matrix, right? You're trying to push into that spawn with that AM Matrix. SRPeakCheck will switch to the Ashe here, so they do have some pressure here at range, right, to put on the Sauna and Shockwave. Bob could also be quite interesting here towards the end of the match.
Throwing Bob up against one of those speaker systems. Probably where Shockwave wants to be, or deny like a side lane by throwing him in there. That's not bad either. Okay, Bob thrown out there, but maybe doesn't get through the doorway the way that Shockwave had intended. He actually clipped against the architecture, and I guess from there it protects Shockwave, but it doesn't put any pressure down on the defenders.
Yeah, I think they're waiting here for the AM Matrix to be gone as well, as some nice shots there from Daned. It's going to be a sim wall here. Could be quite huge towards the end of the game, right? We're below 40 seconds here. Immortality Field trying to keep everybody alive.
Rajaro has to go for that Terror Surge, but still is able to get what he came for. Finds those 2 kills. Time has been bought though, and Cloudy was able to just run Canale down on the card. It looked like Rajaro just had to ignore the Reinhardt entirely. Orbital Rays come up here. Gala doing a lot of healing, and actually sends that one away from the card so that it can be played around for longer. Daned removed. Cloudy, though, can't be moved. I mean, Virtus.pro do need to do something about this Ryan. Rajaro does need to take the fight.
You'll have the Brig coming back, though, with Rally, right? And you have Sauna here as well. So you're going to get another fight here for VP as the Rally's pop.
All right, Cloud builds up a free shatter from this, though. Suzu here comes in. It goes to switch over to the Kiriko now. Cloudy stunned up, but it didn't interrupt the shatter. He still has that available. Pulsar torpedoes go out, and there it is. Shatter comes in. Rajaro knocked to the ground. Sauna trying to go for a barrage. He's only able to find Fi. At least it's a 1v1. Shockwave comes back in on the Tracer, but still Ryan stands tall on the card. And somehow Virtus.pro have to find a way to shift him off of it. That is asking too much now. And SRPeakCheck able to outlast on a map that they often choose to bail themselves out. It's a Junkertown win, and they're alive in this series. SRPeakCheck.
Yeah, Reinhardt, the king of Junkertown, all of a sudden, as SRPeakCheck figures out a way to be able to make that comp work. I think VP, they gave it away a little bit, right? On defense, they were able to get a few holds. They dwindle the clock. It's an awesome push there from SRPeakCheck. Gives them a map completion. That's the biggest part. And VP stalls out at the end. The Ryan and everything else proves to be a little bit too strong getting across the line.
Comp looks really good there. I think the use of the sim wall really throws things into chaos. We kind of talk about a lot of those successful SRPeakCheck fights. They get a good sim wall. They have an amp matrix that allows Ghost to become a legitimate, damage dealing threat in his own right, and also just supercharge that healing. plenty to talk about here as we have an elongated series now with SRPeakCheck hanging on. But how many more maps can they do this with? Hopefully this can answer that and all our other questions.
We'll find out. Thank you guys so much. Desk back here in action. This is Zoe, joined by McGravy and Johnny and SRPeakCheck. They keep themselves alive in this series. Both teams pretty much sticking to their gun, although I do have to say that up until Junkertown, that Reinhardt did not find as much traction. And McGravy, neither did that Doomfist on map 1.
Yeah, listen, this is a call for help. Cloudy, please. Just stick to what you know, man. You just saw it on Junkertown. You were making plays. You were TP, shattering onto the back line, getting kills. No Doomfist, please. Stick to the Reinhardt. It's what you're good at. It's what we love. We love to watch it.
Do we actually have any plays from the Doomfist?
Of course.
You asked for this.
Of course we have that.
You asked for this.
Oh, man. It just... Listen. Stick to the Rhine. It's what you're known for. You don't have to try and flex here. Leave that to the other team. Let the other team do the thinking. You, big man, shield, hammer, swing at the other team. That's what we're going to keep with. The Junkertown, it looked good. This is just not pretty, man.
You used to be able to play Rhine at this point in 6 versus 6, but without the off tank, it gets a little.
Listen,
bit
anything is possible with the sim. That's how I think of it with the Reinhardt. Anything is possible. But yeah, Sana with the Pharah, it's something I highlighted before. He's gonna have to be able to play that Pharah. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, I agree. The Pharah, you know, Sana played spectacularly, but also something you mentioned in the green room as well. They're able to pressure early. You know, they don't let the Reinhardt walk up necessarily for free. They're on there early. Rajaro as well. When he played the Diva, they make it difficult for the Reinhardt composition to approach, right? And when that is the case, you have to utilize your CDs walking up to the objective. And then when you reach the objective, you're already out of your abilities. You don't have any defensive abilities left. And that's usually when these Pokemon positions really get the better of you. So we went to Junkertown, though. A bit of a flashback to that baby-based solo shatter I showed earlier. But this is where we got tons of value, really, with the Reinhardt.
Yeah, shout out to the Johnny illustration, literally highlighting plays that'll happen. The solo shatters on the Ash, they were crucial. These shatters were huge.
You take those as right.
The pins, he just catching Genjis out of midair. Like, I mean, this is disgusting.
You
like,
gotta pray to the Rhine guards, you know?
Yeah.
Make sure you hit those pins.
Yeah, Sana got them on speed dial, those Rhine gods. Quite frankly, though, how did they get the upper hand here? If you have to dissect it, like, where do you feel VP, like, did they not pressure them enough? Was it the switches they made in their DPS lineup?
Mitch was just making a sound because he saw the stats and just like VP were like winning by stats, but still, you know, SRPeakCheck, they come out ahead here. You mentioned something interesting as well. You spoke to Sana's hero swaps in the green room. Like, what was your read on the hero swaps?
Yeah, it just felt like on this map that Sana didn't really know where to go after he picked the Bastion on attack. They had the really strong attack, shooting down the Rhine shield and burning him down. But after that, it feels like they didn't have a great read. I felt like they should have stuck to the Pharah. It's not a great map for it, not a great point for it, but I feel like just the ultimate and the sky pressure is super important. Yeah, I feel like if I'm VP going forward, I'm going to focus more on the high ground maps. I'm going to make it really hard for Cloudy to play the game. I'm going to put Sana and Pharah. I'm just going to stick to what worked in the maps before.
Yeah, let's actually take a look at our map pool to see what's still available for the teams. Of course, now with VP dropping this map, that means it's their pick next. Where do they want to take us?
So I think one map that stands out to me is Suravasa, because we've seen both in North America when Ramatra Punch, that was Derpy playing the Reinhardt at that time, they really struggled actually against Rad Exavidity because Wood pulled out the Bastion and just put so much pressure on the Reinhardt. But also we saw yesterday that Ioma, was it yesterday? Might have been the day before. But Ioma, they also pulled out the Bastion on Suravasa, and it's a really good map for that Bastion to get a lot of value. So we might see something similar. Will LH Cloudy play Sigma? I don't know, but this could be a really strong Bastion map for them.
And you called it. It's Saravasa. So, yeah, potentially might be seeing the Bastion coming out here from VP. The Genji as well. This is also a very strong Genji map, so maybe Sana felt good about the Genji. Maybe he felt he was very confident in that. So that's something I'll look out for as well.
Well, I'm excited to see if VP can close it out here and send SRPeakCheck home, or if they can tie up the series and keep themselves alive. Let's find out as we're heading into Suravasa, and once again, hand it over to Mitch and Matt.
Obviously, we saw SRPeakCheck start this map in a Sigma mirror, or rather, switching sort of to Sigma to counter, or at least to match. They did end up going back to Ryan at some point, so it didn't last the whole match. And again, it was a little problematic for them. But I did like again, I get excited about use of Mei on this map as well, just because it can really just derail some fights for teams if it's a nice setup. So VP again, probably like. Step one, I think, of their plan is to play the Irisicon. if that works, then they obviously don't need to shift off of it here. So what do you think about this Sigma setup into the Orisa comp?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've seen Sigma be pretty successful, especially now in combination. Well, I say for, you know, SRPeakCheck early on in some of these games that we've seen them actually pull it out here with the Bastion in tow, right? So it's going to be difficult.
Great conks.
Obviously, step up. Yeah, I mean, those are the FAR is really difficult to deal with. I mean, just the displacement, right? Is they're going to get a TP to the high ground. They're knocked off immediately.
And Cloudy is in midst of the entirety here of Virtus.pro, but Canale's going to go down here. Off of the first target in these fights, in fairness, but Rojaro does get ruined. And that's without Fire being able to see them, so that's pretty sweet. If you can win the fight without the Bastion just going hell for leather on the enemy tank, then you've done something right.
Yeah, when we're on board with Fire for a while, not for a period of time, right? Wasn't actually kind of using the wheels mode, so to speak. You know, it's just kind of in regular Bastion mode, and I think just waiting for Rojaro to use some of those cooldowns before actually popping that really impactful ability. And there's a grenade that connects onto Shockwave as the Bastion definitely paying off.
Now, what is the plan? We've seen plenty of Sigma from Rojaro in the past. It was like a VP really enjoyed playing that comp.
But if you mirror this, I feel like that's a win for SRPeakCheck, right? Just forcing you off of this, like.
Yeah, I mean, Virtus.pro have shown that they're willing to do so if they have to. But it might come after this Flashpoint. I mean, they definitely don't have the time to do it now, how much we definitely know. So I want to hear a little bit concerned about the TP, but it just baits cooldowns and also forces Farah out of LOS and would force Sauna to peek back into a line that is held by an Amp Matrix. They're not going to give it up, but I mean, they really have to fold away from this. Shockwave is a flank angle, but you need time, and you need to get headshots consistently to really get attention. Fire does go down, though. Canale here has to respect Cloudy.
He's on it.
Yeah, that's tough. Canale is busy.
Yeah, no.
Canale's very busy there. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, they're like even if Canale gets on there, right? Still a lot has to go right for them to be able to kind of take that first Flashpoint. So it'll be SRPeakCheck getting a really early lead here.
Am I starting to believe? Am I starting to believe for this series that SRPeakCheck could? No. You know what? No. I'm just going to suppress those emotions for now. Stoicism, that's right. Okay, Fire trying around a corner here on wheels mode, but hit immediately by a Javelin. The Immortality Field does a lot of heavy lifting there for SRPeakCheck. Canale caught inside the flux, but Virtus.pro have a Terror Surge. And more than enough to take Danet out of the game.
SRPeakCheck as well, right? I mean, you win this. Like, what even happens in terms of the circuit points, right? For EMEA, we talked about a little bit in the pre-show how like we kind of even look past SRPeakCheck, right? The like VP versus TM would be for potentially a spot at Stockholm, like. Depending on if somebody else like kind of ran through and won the entire thing. I mean, SRPeakCheck was just a huge wrench in the mix. That's actually a Bastion kind of using the conk to move around the corner and then getting the artillery.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I think Fire just feels like he's a little exposed in that position, which in fairness he is.
Yeah.
So Bob gets taken down. That's probably the best use of Bastion Ultimate we've seen in general. It doesn't normally get a whole lot else done. Shockwave is in the belly of the beast there, literally. So far forward. And yeah, SRPeakCheck able to handle this very well. It is a fight, though, that is started off with a sim wall. SRPeakCheck always able to do a lot of work with that ability. And Sigma seems a very reasonable analog for Reinhardt in this situation. With a bit more flexibility, still has that space-taking capacity, has stun potential off the accretion, and an arguably much more powerful ultimate, such that VP are forced to switch.
Yeah, and now with Sauna playing Genji, right? Like it's like, can you keep Fire alive, right? That Genji's gonna put a lot of pressure onto that Bastion. If you can, this should continue to be good for SRPeakCheck.
Yeah, I feel like it's a concession that they have to make this comp switch, and they also have the Bastion. But Kinetic Grasp, I think, very important against Fire here. Also the deflect from Sauna. So there's now a mounting number of tools that really negate the impact of Bastion just vomiting bullets at you.
They had almost zero chance of winning
wait.
right?
Yes. No, Ghost, come on, bro.
What are we doing? Okay, so, all right. So, yeah, I think ditching the Bastion's the right move here. I think it's just too easy of a target for VP to collapse on. I like the idea of working in the May. And in that previous fight, right, Blade plus Orbital Strike, there's no way that they're going to win that. And now it's a little bit of an even match.
This is the Flashpoint on the line here. Virtus.pro mostly being forced off the point, but not conceding it quite yet. It's Cloudy with a gravitic flux there that catches Rujaro out. Canale's already made use of the rally now, and that has expired. Cloudy, though, hit by an accretion. It's pretty nice to have an immortality field available, but not when Sauna dices it up instantly. SRPeakCheck, though, they flip the point back. But Virtus.pro have the numbers as the dust begins to settle. Ilpi can only really just stall here. And we're going to have an even Suravasa map.
Yeah, got a little bit weird there for VP, right? Because they end up getting forced off of the point when SRPeakCheck's about like 80%, and they don't actually die right away, right? So you still have this fight kind of continuing. If they would have lost it, not an opportunity to get another fight after. And SRPeakCheck, they go right to the Reinhardt here. So let's see how they kind of work this. Reinhardt versus Sigma, right? If you can get that thing about old when we talk about like teams used to play like Orisa into Sigma, right? That if you can get past the Sigma shield, you can have success. I think it's kind of the same logic here they're trying to use with the Rhine.
TP to the high ground, look at that, I love that! Shockwave, they're going for him yet again! He was not out of position per se, just lagging behind the rest of VP, and SRPeakCheck see an opportunity to collapse. It's Canal that they end up coming with, but same result. Flux here just meets an immortality field and presumably a regenerative burst from Ghost. Yep, that one comes out now. So SRPeakCheck should be able to recover from this, but it's awkward because they take a player advantage and still lose the point.
Yeah, and now they use a TP here, get to the high ground.
Okay. Cloudy is a big man with the plan now. The Reinhardt into the Sigma. I feel like SRPeakCheck are quite happy to set up something like this. Matsi Rajaro make a little switchy boy.
And no way you defend against that, right? Simwall with an air matrix as you're kind of moving on in as Rajaro make they change over to the Orisa here. So both teams just trying to counter comp each other. It feels like time and time again. The issue, that Flashpoint kind of enters in is that like when you try and counter comp constantly, like let's say VP ends up losing this, right? SRPeakCheck, you start to rally some ultimates together, then the Flashpoint ticks so fast, you don't get that many fights, right? So you're in an opportunity to win the game rather fast.
But Ryan versus Orisa, we have stabilized the sacred timeline. Here comes a play now amidst it all by Sauna. Okay, able to find Ilpi, that's not too bad. Of course, the Juno advantage is pretty big for Virtus.pro if they can exacerbate it further. Canale, though, tricky little off angle playing through now. Danette also hard to keep a thumb on because of that constant TPing back and forth. But Canale with the rally late in the fight means that SRPeakCheck just cannot cut through this durability, and Thigh is on the legs, folks. This is not a drill.
We'll see if they stay on the 76.
Let's go.
Okay, so he's back on the soldier. And actually, it's they actually end up winning the fight. They can't find Danette. He's like up on that high ground where he was playing with, I believe, Ghost. Yeah, we are back here on the 76. This is an opportunity here for SRPeakCheck to win this.
Are they trying to use Air Matrix effectively for once with this composition? I'm here for it. Shatter comes in. Rajaro absolutely flattened there. Didn't have the chance. Was caught inside the javelin spin, and that's when you're most vulnerable against Ryan because you cannot just fortify out of that. Another flashpoint here for SRPeakCheck, and by Jove, they've done it with the soldier, folks.
Yeah, 76 is not a hot pick right now, but here for SRPeakCheck, right? So I guess the benefits of 76 is that obviously with the sprint can move away. I know from VP trying to move on in, a little bit of self-survivability against Sauna, but just consistent damage. Okay, now we're going back to Bastion here, which is like they didn't want to play the Bastion against the Genji before, but now they'll actually just go to play Sigma Bastion yet again.
They didn't want the
like
Bastion against the Genji and Sigma. I think they can accept one of those two. But when it's both, it's clearly a problem for SRPeakCheck. So Simwall here means they can get close. Fire's able to move up here. We are in wheels mode, folks. Gonna be a Terror Surge here for Rajaro. Big damage comes off that. Canale also able to get in the mix. And there's not enough damage left after that big Orisa ultimate, rather, that SRPeakCheck will have to concede.
I liked how they just tried to kill him during the Terror Surge. Like, just try and murder him.
I don't think you can do that without Bastion and Zen, honestly. That is, like, very difficult.
Okay, so now we're changing again. Now we're getting rid of the Bastion, and we're getting rid of the Sigma, and now we're bringing in the Reinhardt. So this is what they kind of had. I mean, they just needed to switch the 76 to the Reaper, and they would have been fine. So maybe they really don't like that Bastion the way it looks kind of into this comp.
Yeah, maybe feels a little awkward at times. Again, she's still a problem for him, even
Trying
alone.
to chase somebody here.
Yeah, I thought for a second it'll be with spy checking, but no, just spreading heals. It's all good. They are trying to outmaneuver something. Trying to find a way to get a good fight against Rajara. Maybe that bomb in their backline is an extreme problem, though. That forces Cloudy on the defensive straight away. Shockwave, though, picked off. Has been getting caught out on a couple of occasions. The SRPeakCheck doing a good job at isolating the Ashe here, and ILP had such big dreams for those torpedoes, but Sauna, I think, found a deflect moment there to stay alive. And even with the orbital ray here, SRPeakCheck get folded. Now they're at risk of letting the series slip through their hands.
And this is such a bizarre game. This is going to be another point here for VP as we go to the final flashpoint here on Servasa.
I feel like I'm looking at a Petri dish and not an Overwatch game. Like, it's fascinating. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, as SRPeakCheck, you have to commit the orbital ray there, right? That was the only way you're going to end up kind of winning that fight. Is they will come back here. This will be a kind of another go at it with this composition. They're just getting bullied by the Orisa right now.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, straight into the power wash simulator there. Where's SRPeakCheck? And you could just see just how brutal it is when Sauna's able to dash into that grouped up bunch of players inside that Terror Surge, and Rajaro is unkillable.
It's also like a rally that I think actually gets a stun inside of that as well, right? So, and then just, it's a lot of damage. Sauna starts to come in with the dashes. It's almost impossible to deal with. So now they've got a better opportunity, but VP already making progress.
TP, though, gets you out of the strike zone for a lot of this poke damage. So Shockwave here has definitely struggled this map to overcome. You're not doing much against this Simorgh either. That is brutal. SRPeakCheck, though. Rajara's able to step up and find a pick just off a javelin randomly. However, LH Cloudy with a heroic pin deals with Shockwave, who had to come forward into that range past the sim wall. It's almost a guaranteed fight win for SRPeakCheck against an Ashe comp, and that fight no different.
I also think, like, you lose Ghost really early on. He probably would have dropped the Ant Matrix there, right? The TP straight on through to the other side of the sim wall, then just drop an Ant Matrix there and be able to use it. But now, you're going to have both of these support ults to work with here. So, now obviously losing Ghost there early on, pretty rough, but you end up winning the fight and holding on to the ultimate. Could be quite impactful here towards the end.
All right. Trying to go for the Phatic Shaddy, did Cloudy. Shockwave always seems to be the one on the worst end of things here. Was caught by it, but there was no way to close that gap to get into range and make that happen. Cloudy somehow turns that fight around. That is beautiful stuff for SRPeakCheck. They get the orbital ray as well. And the Ant Matrix healing is massive.
He was stuck in a corner there for a period of time after they had used the immortality field, and he's won, and he's just getting everything they possibly can to keep him up.
Bro.
They just gotta deal with the Sauna Blade, and they're
I
good.
think that is very reasonable. SRPeakCheck here. Looking like they're going to be able to push this on map 5. Sauna's going to try and save things here. 5 perishes first to the blade, and Cloudy rounds back over towards the point. That's all Sauna was able to find. There's now Bob around for Cloudy, just wrecks Canale. And Sauna with a swing of the hammer. Bob is really going to be a footnote here as Cloudy simply shuts him out of the way. Ghost managed to get rid of the bomb in the end here, and SRPeakCheck just need to clean up in this overtime. It's Rajara coming back on the wrecking ball. That definitely smacks of desperation. Danendo has to be careful. Pile drive comes in, and Rajara is able to find the one Lucio play from Canale. Now finds himself all on his own, and SRPeakCheck doing it their own way, are taking this series to a decider.
Maybe so. He wants that 3-2 back, they kind of had early on there for SRPeakCheck. Is I can't believe we're going to a 5th game. I mean, SRPeakCheck able to obviously make this work, with the Reinhardt in different types of situations. Here we saw them play the Sigma, lots of other different things. VP has to be extremely scared here going to this final map, right? Because this would, in theory, would effectively eliminate them from Stockholm, right? You'd kind of think that there's no chance they can make it at that point, right? Twisted Minds already on their heels, right? Twisted Minds then would get a chance here against SRPeakCheck. They would probably need SRPeakCheck to win that. I mean, it throws everything for a loop, right? So VP, this is the must win of must wins. I mean, this would also be one of the worst ways.
It would be a generational fumble, right, for Virtus.pro.
A reverse sweep by SRPeakCheck and the Reinhardt to just end your year. I mean, that is just
I mean, I said it. I
mean,
said it in
that's
hushed
brutal.
tones, almost refusing to believe that it could happen. But SRPeakCheck sticking to their guns, and also obviously with a little bit of like hero swapping midway through the round, right? Eventually, they force a Sigma mirror and then just switch out of it straight away because they feel like they can play Ryan.
I was just gonna say, you know what's actually one of the probably the more frustrating things is like. They looked pretty decent playing the Sigma, and obviously gave them enough trouble to swap it. If SRPeakCheck just didn't commit to the Rhine on a bunch of maps, and just like, hey, let's play like other stuff until we can get the Rhine into the mix, they probably beat a lot of teams. I mean, they're playing quite well.
Oh man. The funny part is that they don't want to win that way. They want to win their way in the end. And they also, I think they genuinely, on certain flashpoints, they do want the Ryan matchup. The Sigma start could really have been because of the topography, frankly, of that first point, and felt like that, even with the sim helping them move around the map, they didn't feel favored there. And, they wanted to take the Orisa ROM, at least to start with that sort of Bastion setup here. Okay, once more, the Baptiste difference is really palpable across this map. Genuinely very competitive in a couple of fights that really could have gone either way. The amount of like random pins that we're seeing Cloudy get on, not like Rajaro, but like Shockwave, and random backliners, and Canale just running into Briggs and absolutely flattening them is really impressive. Being able to even the odds, even in a short-handed fight, by just finding these right-hand charges. Cloudy definitely is looking resplendent out there. And again, depending on the map that we end up sort of seeing here.
Well, where do we? I mean, so it's hybrid, right? Is hybrid? It would have to be Blizzard World, right? I mean, there's no way you would play.
You could try and play Diva. Or you could, yeah, I don't. The problem is that I feel like Blizzard World asks for Tracer a lot right now. I don't know necessarily if you want to go there. What about? Do you feel confident playing like your Orisa comp?
Midtown's actually pretty good for like the TPs, like into the firehouse and getting control of point, right? Like you can do that.
Or do we just run it back to Kings and have a classic bookend to this series?
I mean, that would be
Ryan
like
is Ryan is objectively
thing.
awful on third point. Kings Row, right? Everyone is up in the sky. You're just looking up at them constantly. Or like Midtown is fine, but again, you have a lot of like large expanses to cross. Maybe you feel that as VP, you can like punish on second, but Ryan is really good on the last phase of that map because the high ground is really scarce. So you might just be aiming to like try and hold your opponents to less than 3 checkpoints if you were to pick Kings. I don't think Blizzard World is. I don't think they're going there.
Well, what do you think the level of panic in VPs like comms and everything is right now?
Not very high because they're quiet. Like Rajaro doesn't have a lot to say. I don't think Sauna is exactly the most, verbose individual. Maybe the Spaniards, are chirping up a little bit. I'm not sure. Okay, so we do get Kings in the end.
So Kings.
I don't know.
So Kings. I mean, you still need obviously like high ground access right here on Kings Row. So it could be a little bit harder to play the Rhine here, but you have to imagine that they have tons of experience playing the Reinhardt here, right? Like this isn't going to be something they're going to have to figure out on the fly.
No, it's Kings Row, bro. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, this is absolutely look where they want to be, and I also think like Ryan May strategies through the second phase of the map can be really potent. I think the sim is going to be pretty instrumental. I think that SRPeakCheck have plenty of ways to punish teams that like want to stick towards the high ground more. I don't think you can necessarily like comfortably play Diva comps on this map unless you want to go like Diva Farah setup here and just try and stay out of Ryan's way. But they can really easily like tip you to point and force you to fight them there. I don't think is like the kind of strategy you want to go for.
Yeah, this is where I think we saw that SRPeakCheck ended up playing that Doomfist Junkrat combination in the last match we cast of them. Season 12 live right now. It's ending soon, so while throw this on one monitor, play Season 12 on the other one. Get your drops while also progressing your battle pass, right? Why not? Just do both. You can do both. What's wrong?
You're just a consummate salesman, I think you could sell ice to an Inuit, Matt. Nicely done.
To who?
You could sell ice to an Inuit.
What's that?
For God's sake. Any thoughts on the desk? Yeah, we'll cross to you guys later. Sure.
The desk, you're looking for thoughts from them. I mean, that's, you know, that you're not getting any thoughts over there. Johnny's probably so excited watching Reinhardt being
played. They're the native people of the north of the North American continent.
Oh.
Yeah. You with me now?
Yeah, I heard Zoe laugh audibly.
I would not say you're the best endorsement of basic literacy in the United States, Matthew. I'm going to be honest with you.
What do you mean? Nah, I mean, I'm super worldly. You'll see when we go to Stockholm. I'm going to have some of that.
World of Warcraft-ly, I think.
Yeah. No, every time we do an event, we should just do like a little video package of me just, you know, walking around the area and just observing.
You don't leave your damn hotel.
I think that would be fun.
Shut up. You literally just...
Me exploring. Yeah, that's true.
Leave your hotel room. Okay, all right, you know what?
I find the local coffee establishment. I find the venue. And
you
I
find the inside of your eyelids. We know. We know. We've done events with you. All right. SRPeakCheck here, of course. No changes. They do have this Junkrat look here, which kind of, you know, makes sense. It is of concern.
The defensive Junkrat.
Yeah, it is obviously of concern when you're dealing with Farah here. However, if you want to throw back
we got a lineup here? The lineup?
I mean, I would say it's a welcome shower, but yeah.
A little lineup? No, we got, look at these angles on the lineups.
Yeah, okay. It's fine. I'm here for it. I think a summon total of 0 of those grenades have actually hit. Oh, Majaro.
We gotta get Jonas to start, you know, making you know, the Junkrat lineup videos.
Yeah, I'll get him on the blower. I'm sure he'll be right into that. So what, trapped up here. That's beautiful fight. Able to catch the Genji out. Oh man. Truth stranger than fiction sometimes. TP thrown up here. Rajari under a lot of pressure. Really has to try and back away here. I don't think Virtus.pro are just ready for this level of crackback. And without the flexibility that Genji offers them there, that backline pressure, they can't do much.
Yeah, Shockwave actually took high ground directly above them, but it doesn't seem like that, you know, SRPeakCheck cares, right? They're just going to kind of bait these players into that choke and then kind of play from that area of the map as Speedring goes down, see if they actually end up using it. TP there to the high ground, and just even the threat of the TP, right, forces some of these players back.
Cloudy here just making sure this point is really hard to contest. Rajaro actually fortifies preemptively just to move up through all this poke damage. Firestar to wrap around now. Rajaro is about to get bounced back and forth. And also, notice the trap thrown down. It's very hard for Sauna to walk up on this Junkrat, and that is really where he needs to be at some point. Garlic here, able to avoid the remote mines. Unbeknownst to him, Fire just belting them at him. And here's an orbital raid now for VP, but they've lost both Danit and Ilpi, and the Immortality Field has now given up the Ghost. Fire here, okay, able to avoid Sauna.
Though. Shatter available here. It's going to be a Shatter.
Yeah, and Matrix as well. Rajaro's just going to get blown to smithereens, and there's nothing Shockwave can really do about this. SRPeakCheck come back into the fight after a horrible start. They are 3v4 and win it out.
That's insane. I mean, the Shatter from you know, Cloudy connects with 2. That's the orbital rate and rally used there by VP. So the you know, some of the support ultimates gone there for them. And now you have Ilpi's you know, orbital rate here for fight this next fight with that sim wall. 2 really powerful ultimates. So I mean, look at Cloudy already about 50% to the next Shatter, but the Shatter with the Amp Matrix proves to be a big difference there.
You see, Cloudy wants to play that corner. Rajaro doesn't want to give him free swings here. Shockwave trying to find the Junkrat wherever possible. Sauna also being pretty cagey about how he chooses to close the gap here. Cloudy threatens now. Couple hammer swings and the Genji's got to get out. Danet's TP might be an issue, and in comes Bob. Straight away, throws himself at it. Shockwave playing on the backside of this sim wall might give Virtus.pro an edge here, but Bob can't do anything. Fire eventually just takes that down. The Terror Surge here for Rajaro. Feels like desperation, but Sauna's blade might be able to bail them out here. Its Ghost goes down. The Immortality Field doesn't do anything. And Virtus.pro finally break through.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's a way that they actually fight back here. Yeah, so it's the blade there from Sauna. That is the huge difference, but still pretty good defense there from SRPeakCheck, right? Get a lot of time off the clock. VP 3:30 on the clock here to actually get this second checkpoint. And now the you know, the Rhine and the Junk in these chokes in the second part of the map. If you're SRPeakCheck, you're like, okay, let's just get a 0.2 hold, right? You feel really good about your odds if that happens. This is probably where their comp is the strongest.
up we go. Still plenty of reason to be playing Junk here. Notice there's a little trap thrown down on Cloudy's position. Shatter catches Shockwave. Rajaro also knocked down by it as well. It's so frustrating for the Orisa, who basically has to have that Fortify on a hair trigger and doesn't want to use it for no reason. It's easy to bait it out just under the threat of that Shatter in general. And SRPeakCheck once more. Send Virtus.pro packing.
You win this fight, this allows you to push up a little bit. You're going to be down, you know, Danet and Nailpeak for a little bit, but you can get aggressive around this corner. You have Ant Matrix with a Rip Tire here as well, as you see some players still headed back here for VP. So another fight win here would be massive for SRPeakCheck.
Rip Tire now is going to force the spread here. Fight amongst the rooftops. Rajaro just able to break that up though with that javelin spin. Cloudy wants to come forward though, playing as if he had Shatter, but he always does, I guess. Hyper ring there for SRPeakCheck. A burst of speed gets them forward, and Gala goes down to a remote mine. 5 with 3! A 2-for-1 of the second mine! This guy is taking the game over!
Are we sure Jake's at a wedding? Or is he just like a couch here? As Fi just looking like you know, the Jake right here, just going to the high ground now. I mean, he's feeling himself. The Tire doesn't get anything, but 3 kills with the remote mines. This, VP now, Rally plus Blade here. You know, even the Terror Surge with the Blade, right? That's the combination that gave them that first checkpoint. Probably going to need to get the second one.
Sona backs up into a deflect straight away. Does not want to face any of this amped damage from the orbital ray down, but Cloudy's happy to swing this corner. Here though, come Virtus.pro behind the rally of Rajaro. Again, it's the damage output of Junkrat that he's just not ready for. Cloudy charges in and looks to shut Canale down. Fire already got there first. A minute and 14 now as Virtus.pro's prospects of making it to Stockholm fall under question.
Oh, and they're going to go to the Ramantra here, so they're going to try and just brawl out with this Reinhardt. You know, the Nemesis form going to be huge here. A little bit of shielding right for some of the Junkrat spam too. So, but you're going to have the sick, you know, sim wall combination here again. You know, with the Rip Tire. I mean, this is going to be really difficult for VP to get through.
Cloudy's happy to swing here. Force the Nemesis form. Rajaro stunned up by that Shadow. Just him though. Sona goes in again. The Immortality Field has to be contended with. But that's beautiful. That is a blade on both supports through Immortality Field. Just what VP needed.
You can get another fight here, though, if you're SRPeakCheck, right? You see where the card is progressing around that corner. It'll be a far swap here for Sona, as I believe you can get another fight here. So with this next fight, you'll have that sim wall, which could be really difficult, you know, for this far to navigate. And then Canale now over on the Ana. So 2 heroes that don't really play well into that big sim wall.
Also, Right Shield, a problem for them, but goodbye NA connection on Danet. Nothing they can do about the punch from Rajaro, but the Ramantra is taken down by the Rip Tire, and who would touch this cart? Cloudy steps up. What's Sona going to touch Canale? Nobody really wants to do that job, but without the Ramantra, you have no choice. Kept contested for the time being, but with no Ana, with no Farah, your run ends here.
Honestly, just getting the kill on Rajaro there with the Tire is massive. That is totally worth the trade there that goes on. So, because at that point, like you mentioned, right, who's going to go down and contest the cart? For a while, it looked like it was they were deciding, like, is it the Farah, is the Ana, like, who's jumping down, who's trying to contest, and they just kind of trickle out, right? Everybody who jumps down and has to contest the cart ends up dying. So. This, I think, was really important. Like we talked about actually before the map started, that the Rhine isn't good on the 3rd point. You don't have to now actually go to the 3rd point, right? If you're SRPeakCheck, you can play on these 2 kind of parts of the map that you would say out of the 3 favor the Reinhardt.
That's a great point. I mean, basically just ignoring the whole part of the map where Rhine is provably bad. SRPeakCheck probably can't ask for more.
They come out and play Doom here.
These guys are, again, they are.
If they play Doom Junk, I'll lose it.
So unserious to do that.
But they're winning though.
Yeah, and honestly, like, we watched Fire on the Junk kill Afara twice, like, in that situation. Please be serious, boys. All right.
Oh,
Very
man.
serious comp here. Okay, Reaper. No, if they switch Kiri, they're playing Doom. Ghost is going to run in with Cloudy. They are going to just try and to brute force that high ground. They're doing it. Yep. McDonald's skin
if you
and
lose,
all.
if your Stockholm quest ends at the hands of the McDonald's Doom,
No.
I mean that is
That is so bad. God. Okay, here we go. Upstairs, downstairs, easy. Cloudy says, okay, well, understood, have a nice
I
day.
don't want to be upstairs anyway.
Takes the Mega here. Fire is down, so they did try and dive, apparently, without the Doom Fist. Probably less than advisable. And they were stable.
So also an interesting note here from VP side is they're actually not playing the Brute, so they're actually playing the Ana here. So provides obviously a little bit more healing at range. Nice sleep here. Bio connects there on a Cloudy. He actually just takes out Canale though. So I don't think this is good. They need to switch off of this. I mean, this is not.
But is the Rhine
I
going
don't
to get
think
you
this
there?
is it.
Is that going to be enough? Yep,
Well,
big switches.
I think you'd have a better chance doing that than, you know, YOLOing it with the Doom, right?
I mean, they have to do it though with.
I mean, you clearly won. You've clearly gotten this far playing the Reinhardt. Like, just figure it out at this
Yeah, I mean,
point.
they're going to have to figure it out on the fly though if this isn't their plan A. Their plan B likely involves them TPing to that high ground, but it's very telegraphed and obvious, and there it is. A Javelin opens up an opportunity for an easy pick on Ghost.
So I also think if you're like SRPeakCheck, right? It's okay, if we can play this Reinhardt and get first point, we don't have to make any changes going into second point. We don't even need a full map, right? So, you know, you have an opportunity here to like play around some of these ultimates, right? You know, build up some ultimates, you know, kind of dump them into a fight. Ilpi will have the Orbital Ray here, first big ultimate here for SRPeakCheck Online.
Okay, well, VP have to respect this. Canale playing well back into the choke now as the Reinhardt demands attention. Beckons challenges forward. That Orbital Ray now for Gala plus the Bionade of Canale is very, very difficult combo to break through. Such that Rajaro doesn't have to take any risks, just hold the line and let the rest of his team go to work.
Yes, right now they're getting farmed a little bit, right? No, it's Rajaro pushes way up into the spawn, takes out Ghost as Fi making a switch here, just rotating through all the hit scans will now play Ashe. So this is also going to be difficult, right? You're probably going to have this nano for either Rajaro or Sauna, you would think, either of the two. So make that far even harder to take out in the sky. They desperately need an early pick-off here.
Try TP straight away. Of course, Rajaro just knocks Cloudy back to the low ground. I don't think SRPeakCheck can really bully their way up there. That is going to be a problem. Again, they are going to ask for Virtus.pro to drop down. That is all they can really do. Sauna will come forward now, more than happy to take this kind of fight, pinging out the location of the Ashe as well, and Fi is not able to punish Sauna for that extension forwards. Once again, they look to take that height. Here's a symbol now. This is their best opportunity for SRPeakCheck to take point A, but Canale dishing damage and healing in equal measure from the high ground. Does see Sauna, but cannot keep him alive. Sees a very low health Ilpi though, and dunks a Bionade on him. Now though, he's got to play out of line of sight for a moment. Rajaro is healthy and has an extra fortify in this Terror Surge. He should have enough to hold Cloudy off until reinforcements arrive. And he's done more than that. He's put the fear of God in this Rhine. Terror Surge now could end Rhine. It gets Ghost as the Suzu is a little too early. Doesn't quite hit the Javelin, but Fortify used preemptively. Cloud is going to cancel that charge. And now SRPeakCheck have one last chance to take this map.
Well, it felt like that was their best chance right there, right? As VP, they end up using a few ultimates. You got to get players traded out, but both supports still able to survive there for Virtus.pro. As the Ana has definitely made an impact, especially from this high ground. As Danon will actually switch over Venture here, so hey, can you get a big shatter? Can you get an orbital array plus shatter here and make some good use out of it?
It's pretty nasty though. Cloudy already takes a ton of damage. That orbital array's not helping him very much. It's Shockwave going down, but SRPeakCheck, what a way to go out of our main event.
That's so.
The most
So
colossal
I mean, come on,
of
man.
Charlie Niners sees the Bears outlast the clownery of SRPeakCheck and advance in this lower bracket.
Did anybody really win this series?
The people.
I mean, somebody won, but it felt
The
like
people
I felt like
have won.
I think Danon was actually going to be the one that was going to touch. He went around the outside of the hotel, but I think they still even had Shatter there. I mean, that's a fight they would have won.
I mean, they got Shockwave to start the fight. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's pretty good, right? Player advantage. You got the Ash, by the way, the hardest target to find with this Ryan comp, considering they're usually playing in a different postcode over on the point.
What a series. I don't know if anything will top that today.
I definitely need to see some footage. We've got to do some C9 forensics on this one. I'm just not, yeah. Not the way I expected this series to end, folks. I'll give you that one for free. The desk probably in a similar position, but they've had a little bit more time to collect themselves. Let's see what they do with it.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't even want to break this one down because I don't want to see the C9 again. That was once was enough.
We have to.
I guess we have to, but we can hold hands through it all and go through this together. So Ravasa, right? Like they claw themselves back into it. It's looking good. It's looking strong. Not sure why the Genji was the choice here for VP throughout the last two maps. It almost looked like they're trying to lose it at one point, McGravy, but it turned out SRPeakCheck just wanted to lose it a little more.
Dude, I have so many feelings, and none of them are positive.
You were molding.
I was
You're in
molding.
great company.
I was molding. It started on Saravasa where SRPeakCheck made adjustments, and VP just refused to do the same. They played Brig the entire time. They played Genji at all the wrong places. They played Pharah at all the wrong places. They just seemed to it seemed to be opposite day for VP until there's like about 10 seconds left on the clock here in King's Row, and VP decides to play the game. The Genji, they started comboing their ult here at least correctly. They were using the Arista Blade, which was a big positive for me. I don't understand how this is happening, though. I don't know how Cloudy's getting 3-man, 4-man shatters every time he rounds a corner. Or Rajaro has a button that he can just stick his arm up and he can't get shattered. But somehow I see him on his back every 5 seconds. This map was utter chaos. I mean, there's Junkrats getting 3Ks with mines. Shout out to Sonic hitting blades, I guess. Ghost on the BAP was absolutely carrying the entire series. As you can see here with the windows, again, I'm not sure as to why they got off of that going into attack. Yeah, this is pandemonium. I said it earlier. Why are we still playing Doomfist? Johnny, I'm fine with the attempt here. This is an old strat the teams used to use. You go Reaper, you go Genji, you go a dive character, you go up into the high ground, you clear the supports, you get trades, because that's all you need for attack.
It's a C9.
No,
Dana helps out in the hotel and then doesn't rotate to the point fast enough after you get the take on the Ash.
Sana.
It's a player of the match, apparently. It's Sana.
It's honestly hard to pick. Listen, I love Sana, but the choices, I'm not sure who's whispering in his ear to pick what and when, but it didn't make sense. I'm happy they made adjustments in the end. They pulled the series out, but frankly, they didn't deserve to win this. I feel like they feel the same way. I've been a part of a lot of teams, and I'm sure the vibes are how did we manage to pull that off? Because it was a steamroll. And then there's like 5 seconds left before they lose, and they're not able to call.
Here's my take. Send the opposition on the wrong scent. You know, like pretend, not showing your strats. Something.
I loved all of that, McGravy. That was awesome by you. I loved all of that.
This is just the inner coach coming out.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
Honestly, it is what it is. It doesn't really matter how they got the dub because they got the dub and they're staying alive in our